Hey y'all, Captain JJB84 here. Well, with the cold weather setting in, I thought I'd review a more festive film. Well, not really festive because it's an old film. Batman and Mr. Freeze, SubZero. Okay, Batman the Animated Series is just, let's face it, it's one of the greatest TV shows ever made. Not cartoon, TV shows in general. It's, it was the first real, in-depth look at, what Batman could be, what he is, and has since I think almost redefined. I think it's redefined superheroes in general. Really, Batman the Animated Series. With that, we got three films, if I'm correct. We got Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, which is one of my favorite films of all time. Batman and Mr. Freeze: SubZero, and Batman: Mystery of the Batwoman. I'll Yeah, I haven't. I've only ever watched Mystery of the Batwoman once. I remember it being good and it very much hinting at the Batgirl Batman relationship. But we're not here to talk about that. We're talking about Batman and Mr. Freeze, Sub-Zero. What can I really say? This came out about a year after Batman and Robin. You know, that god awful piece of shit. Really, it's the same. It's a similar story to Batman and Robin, but it's just like this is what Batman and Robin should have been. Really, I mean, why was Poison Ivy in there? Why were they trying to shove Batgirl in there somehow? Um, what was with the nipples on the suit? But Mr. Freeze is one of the more tragic villains for Batman lore. I mean, Paul Dini, I think, came up with the idea to make him sort of a much more tragic villain. Um, I think it was Paul Dini. I don't know. But back in the original comics, Mr. Freeze wasn't really what he is now. I think there was episodes I remember where he's actually where you see a little more to kind of what's wrong with his wife. His wife has this disease where the only way that she could live was being sort of cryogenically frozen or whatever. Um, and she's sort of in this state of limbo. She's not really dead. She's not really alive. And I think there was a great line from, not in this movie though, but from an episode where Mr. Freeze says, I think he actually learns, I don't know, but he sort of learns of his parents' death, Batman's parents' death, and he's like, you have it easy. Your parents are just dead. My wife's she's not alive, she's not dead, so what is she? But that's what made him a much more, unique villain to that extent. And he's not really, that's his main purpose, is just, he's not really after for anything himself. He just wants his wife back. I could imagine anyone who would do that. Um, but this film, I like this film for a lot of what I like about Batman, Mr. Freeze, is that it really goes at the Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson relationship, which Batman the Animated Series never really it was established, but it never really you never really saw it much. This film really shows it. Um, Though, Dick Grayson did have a relationship with Catwoman, as I remember, in an episode of the new Batman Adventures. But yeah, the story. Barbara Gordon is apparently one of Freeze's wife, Nora Freeze, rare blood types, and basically Nora Freeze needs an organ transplant. But supposedly is a blood transfusion is really an organ transplant. So basically, Mr. Freeze and this doctor, Belson, they're gonna kill Barbara Gordon in order just to save his wife. Now, I'm not saying Mr. Freeze isn't bad or anything or not thinking the right way, but I can see why he's doing this. His whole purpose is to save his wife. I mean, he'll do anything for her, which is which makes for which just makes him more unique in that sense. This might sound weird, but there's not a lot of Batman in this movie. It actually seems a little more. It's more about Mr. Freeze, really. Not to saying that he's not in it or doesn't do awesome things. He actually tries to. Mr. Freeze actually becomes a good guy towards the end. He starts helping them, realizing for the greater good, and Batman tries to save him. It's like Freeze. The ending is kind of sad, or it's Mr. Freeze, he survives the fall, and he learns his wife is alive, and in a stable condition, he starts crying. His tears are made of tears are made of ice. I was like, oh man, really like. I wish a lot more animated superhero films were not only made but released to theater. I mean, this was a direct-to-video release because what it was, Mask of the Phantasm was released to theaters, but it didn't do very well. It was a very small film, only made about $6 million, and it made just under $6 million. So it wasn't marketed very well. But with a budget that small, I couldn't imagine huge marketing campaigns. Not like today. But yeah, I would love to see more animated superhero films, like just in general. I mean, preferably ones that are a bit longer. This is only about an hour long, so nothing really to complain about. One thing I do have to question though, Barbara Gordon goes through 3 different voice actors through in Batman in the DC animated universe. Tara Strong being the last one, as I remember, in the new Batman Adventures, where she looks more like Batgirl, wearing yellow and all that, or like yellow crest and stuff. I don't know who she's played by in here. And yeah, there was her original actress, which I think fit a little more. But yeah. But anyways, back to the film. There's really nothing much to say about it. It's short, it's sweet, and it's not like it's mature, really. I mean, like, a parent could watch this with their kid and be like, wow, that's it's pretty dramatic and stuff. It starts off really well. Like, they establish Mr. Freeze and this kid he's raising, this 12-year-old Inuit or whatever. And Mr. Freeze, he seems like a nice guy. He gets some fish, he does stuff. And then just, shit hits the fan when a submarine, I think it's like a naval submarine, sort of crashes through his house and Nora almost dies. She's knocked out of her cryogenic tube or whatever. But nothing else to say, really. It's sweet, it's innocent, it does, more than Batman and Robin ever will. So I have to give it credit for that. This is getting a 9 out of 10 from me, and I think I'll review Mystery of the Batwoman soon enough. But until then, yeah. I don't know why. I suddenly got back into superheroes recently. I guess because ever since I saw Man of Steel and stuff. And particularly the DC animated universe. So I began just rewatching episodes of Batman, Superman, Justice League, Batman Beyond, which is my favorite of them. Well, is it my favorite? Probably. I'll get more into that later. One of my favorites, though. Return of the Joker. Really good. I'll probably review that next. But yeah, this is just a solid film, and there's nothing really else I can say. But yeah, just preparing for the cold weather. In 2 weeks' time, Frozen will be out. So I'll I don't know, I'll wear like a winter jacket for that review. Like, a Quebec jacket seems fitting for this review. Is it not? I don't know. Can't even see. There we go, Quebec. So until then, I shall see you all later.